end, I reached a room where there was a group of people gathered in a circle. In the center there was a table with candles and some objects I couldn't identify. It looked like some kind of ritual. I felt a chill run down my spine. I tried to stay hidden, but my curiosity got the better of me. Suddenly, the room fell silent, and I felt like all eyes were on me, even though I was sure they hadn't seen me yet. I slowly backed away, trying not to make any noise, but I stumbled over something and made a noise. At that moment, they all turned toward where I was hiding. I panicked and ran out of there as fast as I could. I didn't stop until I was far away from that house. I don't know what they were doing, but it was definitely something strange. After that day, I decided to end things with Daniela. I couldn't continue with someone who was involved in something so mysterious. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was the right one. And then, suddenly, I felt a blow to my head. I lost consciousness. I fainted and woke up in my bed. At that moment, I interrupted him, saying it couldn't be possible, that maybe he was dreaming and it was all an effect of some drug he was smoking. But he said, "No, I swear it wasn't, I swear it wasn't. That's what they want you to think, that I made it up." The scene was etched in my mind. They were all completely naked in front of a dark image, and Daniela was prostrate at their feet. I remember this completely, and I don't think it was a dream. It was real. And if not, how do you explain this mark on my right hand? This tattoo which looks like a dark stain. How do you explain this? The mark, my friend, had resembled a bat. I interrupted him again, telling him it was a botched tattoo, but I had never seen it before. I asked him how he got it, and he said, "I assure you it's not, I can't remove it with anything, I've had it since last night. I want you to come with me to that house and you'll see it wasn't a dream." We always liked urban exploration and we had the perfect excuse to do it. A little while later, he was at my door to head to that place. December 22nd. We took the bus and went to Cittadella. We arrived at the house. For legal reasons, I won't give details of the address. Look, it's that one. I told you, let's go in through the window. When I stood in front of the door, I felt a shiver run through my entire being, a chill as if forewarning that something bad was going to happen. With the camera in hand and the flashlight, we gathered our courage and began to descend those somber stairs. When we were in that place, we noticed it was cold, even though it was summer outside and it was still daylight. Then our flashlight started to fail, so we used the camera light. I want to tell you that the house seemed abandoned. In fact, it had a closure tape and a pile of unpaid taxes in the garden, which was dirty and neglected, as if no one had lived there for years. There were stains on the walls, and in that basement, in front of an altar, there was a garment lying there which my friend recognized immediately. "That's my shirt, the one Daniela gave me. I've been looking for it for a while." And at that moment, a macabre laugh echoed, and our lights suddenly went out. As best as we could, we ran out of there. The further we got, the closer and stronger that laugh sounded. We left the place and I didn't want to go back in. When I was on my way back, I noticed that the camera's battery was completely drained and it wouldn't even turn on, which struck me as very strange because it had been fully charged. However, I suspected what had caused it, although I knew it had recorded. The first thing I did when I got home was to charge it. After that, I fell asleep. The next morning, the first thing I did was check the recording, and I assure you, I was astonished by what I saw. In the video, you could see motionless people as if in a trance standing there near us. They were just watching us, and when we focused on the altar, there was a dark humanoid shadow. And this thing was pointing at my friend. I swear it was incredible because there was no one in that basement when we were there. But for some incredible reason, they were recorded on the camera. That moment was interrupted by the sound of my phone. When I answered, I saw it was a private number. The only thing I heard was, "Your friend is next." What followed I will keep to myself because it's quite traumatic. But my friend Carlos fell ill and spent the holidays hospitalized. He started rambling, lost 20 kilos and stopped speaking. One afternoon when I went to visit him, while I was with him, he suddenly opened his eyes and started trembling. He slowly raised his hand and pointed behind me. Then he removed his oxygen and told me with a terrifying face, "It's behind you. It's behind you." Oh, I asked him. But at that moment he went back into a trance. He put the oxygen back on and stopped speaking again. During those days I received several calls from private numbers. One of them was in the middle of the night and told me, "Your friend died, he was lucky but he won't leave him alone." During all that time his girlfriend Daniela never visited him, and she had completely cut off the relationship with us, especially with me, because she said I was filling his head with ideas. But one day, I gathered the courage and went to see her. When I rang her doorbell, it took her about 20 minutes to come down, and when she finally did, with an angry face, the only thing she told me was that she had made a blood pact for him to love her forever, but it went wrong. But what did you do? If he truly loved you, now you've doomed him. That's what I managed to say to her at that moment. She told me that the only way he could be saved was to burn with salt all the gifts she had given him. That was the only way he could get better. I asked her, but why won't he know? Because I can't, even if you don't believe it. That's what she replied. After some time, I no longer remembered what had happened, but one day we received some news. Daniela had thrown herself onto the train tracks, leaving a note for her parents. The only way to free them all is by giving my life. At her wake, I was once again with Carlos. I still remember the image of his hand with that strange tattoo caressing the coffin. The next day I was able to speak with him more calmly, and I said, "Don't you think about removing that tattoo, erasing it somehow? I don't know, but..." He smiled at me in a very strange way, and I assure you that the same macabre laugh came from within him, the same one we had heard in that basement.